Okay, we have a presentation. Okay. Right. So I think we had prayed, so we'll just start to go with it. We've tried to label the title of the presentation Technology, the Catalyst. And what we've tried to also do is to make it quite simple. So it probably will not meet the standards of some of my senior technology colleagues in the room, but it will show to us some of the things that we can use with the tools that we have in our hands. So the use of the word catalyst, is quite it's essential for this because what we have seen is technology changing things without us noticing fast enough. So I will go through like the objectives and then we'll just go to a session. I don't know if we can pass the mic around. Is that possible? Okay. Thank you. While we're working on that. So just to understand how the world of work is viewed today, determine some of the roles of ICT, understand some of the opportunities that are created, and then determine how to harness some of those opportunities. Okay. Okay. So I just want us to take a look. Please pardon me. I'm going to come down. Let's just take a look at the picture on the screen. What do we see? MTN umbrella. Okay. What are they doing in the MTN umbrella? You said SIM card registration. Okay. What else? Buy recharge card. Okay. And this was in 2020, right? I'm going to show you the picture of 2024 and we'll spot the difference. So 2024, what do we see now? POS. So in 4 years, we don't have recharge card sellers anymore on our streets. Somehow, those recharge card sellers are either jobless or have evolved to be POS service providers. Or who still buys recharge cards from one of those umbrellas? None of us. So in just 4 years, so let's start imagining what will happen in 2028. What would our streets look like? I'm not sure. Maybe there will be ChatGPT kiosks or something. But one of the things that caused this change was what happened in 2023 with the cashless revolution, right? For the government to come in and say, we are changing the Naira notes, people then started to look for how to survive in creating their transactions that are speedy. And just because of what I do mostly, I can tell you that there are people that are contending now with banks that we knew of that are created in maybe a one-story building and are fighting, contending with the first banks of this world that have been around for 130 years, contending with Zenith Bank because of this silent catalyst called technology. So it's important that we're really looking and thinking about what will this do for me? How is this changing my business? Okay. How is it changing the skills that I have and my relevance going forward? Okay, next slide, please. So I tried to show this slide and my screen is cut in a way. But just to show our contribution to GDP, and I like the fact that we started with agric, because you can see a steady growth in agric's contribution to GDP. And if the government does what they said they will do, that growth is expected to increase. Because like Auntie said, we are not yet food self-sufficient. So there will still be a lot of work that needs to go into agric for us as a nation to be self-sufficient. But we can see some ICT just silently climbing. In 2015, ICT will contribute 8.6% to our GDP. But in 2023, ICT is contributing 19.5. If you go back maybe to the 2000s, ICT will not even be at all in the charts for the top 5. So it's important to then say, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's creating these changes? How are things changing, and how can I harness some of that growth? Okay. Next slide, please. So because of these things, and I think that my mom does not understand how I can tell her that I'm working from home. She's extremely always amazed at how I can sit down at home and work. But it is what it is, and that's what technology has done. We've sort of moved from a place where we always needed to use our hands to work. And then we have moved to this thing we call a conceptual age. An age where a child in Ijebu-Ode can think about something, and people around the world can come together and make that product live without meeting each other, without having a physical meeting, without going on any flight. This is what is going on today. And so we have a lot of younger people that are sitting somewhere in the information age and conceptual age. But we also have quite a lot of us that have not tapped at all into what this could mean for our businesses, for the things that we do, and for our skills. So the conceptual age has moved so quickly. I tell my clients that the moment technology is able to meet costs, there will be a disruption. And what technology has done in the last few years is to mix costs so fast. So prior to now, we were all struggling to have computers at home. Now, nobody is really thinking about the cost of a computer. Now we are grasping with, will AI really do, what will AI really do? But the moment technology and costs meet, there's going to be a switch. And that's exactly what happened with the Money Points of this world, with the OPAs of this world. OPA actually already was signing for bankruptcy, and then the financial boom came for them. So it was just an opportunity that met the right technology, the right cost, and was meeting a direct need of the market. And I don't know if there's any executive, a banking executive today, that is not thinking about how their service can be as fast as OPay or Money Point, how they can make sure their POSs are as fast, and they can give the right amount of quality assurance to service delivery. Right? So, just things to think about as we go. So, changes in ICT that ICT is facilitating. So, I always think about them in 3 key verticals, and this is where maybe we need to start to think about our businesses. The first vertical is technology as an enabler. So technology as an enabler is when you take technology on an existing process. So I run a shop today. What can I do with my shop to create some form of efficiencies? What can I do with my shop with technology to be able to help me reach a wider market? What can I do with technology to be able, there are normal processes that will continue to happen, but you use technology as the enabler. And we're seeing people change, and this is where living work because of technology. So it's really saying, what are the processes that you take on in your role? So for instance, Auntie has talked a lot about farming. Right now, there are conversations. I have seen a business that's into drones, and one of the sectors that they want to go to is for agriculture. Because of security, since we cannot have human beings that we may be able to trust every time, since we may not have human beings that will not be at the risk of all the banditry, we can send in drones into that place every period, move through the farmlands, reports with direct real-time imaging of the farms, and you can be sure of what is going on the farms. And these guys are doing it at such a level, going into offshore rigs with drones, places where were so dangerous for humans to go to. And they are taking out a lot of human costs, a lot of human errors, and even a lot of risks that would have been borne. So technology as an enabler. The second one is technology as a product or a service. So if something has changed, so for instance, people that were recharge card users are now become POS. Something has changed deliberately. There's no underlining. The technology itself has become what they are selling. So if you think about what will happen when we finally have driverless cars, or what will happen where we have, AI is doing things for us when we go to places, then you see that technology can now become a service. Again, I like to say to myself that as far as your eyes can see, people have been able to conceptualize very little things that solve a problem, and they can use that. The third one is like a hybrid of both. Typically, the number two is very far-reaching for humans to wrap their head around. I mean, I don't know how many of us will get into a driverless car, for example. But we will get Uber, which relieves us of the cost of that asset, which relieves us from the cost of the driver. We just use the service when we want it and we take it back. So it is bringing together both technology as an enabler and products as a service. So if you think about what the fintechs are doing, for instance, being a middleman between payments platforms, that's all that they are doing. Okay, so I was going to then talk about the three key ways to start to think about it. There are three major ways, which is one, who is working, who now works in this new world. What are the skills that this person in this new world, right? So who is working in this new world? What we've seen is that, so it's changing these three key spheres. So it's who does the work, how the work is done, and then I think the last one is where the work is done. Who does the work, how the work is done, and where the work is done. So who does the work? I have had people that studied Yoruba language and now they are sitting as product managers. I've seen people that, it has become so irrelevant. Sometimes I cringe when I tell young people to stay in university because it's almost like, why do I need it? But it has become almost irrelevant. But what that means is, and Auntie touched on it today, is that knowledge is available to school to upskill yourself. If there's something that you need to learn, you can learn it. Nobody, I don't know, I sit in interviews every day, and I don't think we're no longer hung up by what you studied in school, right? It's a far-fetched conversation these days. So really, it's really competence. Can you do it? And I'll tell you a story about a product that I developed and how that went based on some of these things. How does the work get done? Now, this is what are the skills. What skills do we have? We'll go into it just a few slides more. But what skills do we really need to get this work done, right? What are the things that you need? And everybody's situation will be different, but it's really to start thinking about, if these skills exist, where do I get them from and how can I? And then where is work done? The borders of work have been all shattered. Work can happen anywhere. On my way here yesterday, I was in an interview. I had my meetings. I did everything. I got in here. So work is happening everywhere and anywhere. So it's important that we start shattering that and also start thinking if we really need to bear the cost of that rented shop that we have, right? Is it really necessary to have it? Okay. So who does the work? Go to the next slide, please. So we've talked about who does the work. I mean, is everything everywhere? Is anyone really? Degree less with a degree, it's everywhere. I was going to show different what the future sort of looks like, but maybe when it comes up, okay, it's here. So if you see it, in the past, we will work a 9 to 5. So we resume at 8, we close at 4. It's fixed. Now, that is, we work anytime. Work in a is wherever you are. Your work is focused on inputs, right? It is very methodical. Okay, thank you. And now it's really the outputs. People will say, I don't care where you are, where is my deliverable? That's all that's happening now. Use company equipment. That's not really happening anymore. Really now, it looks like company equipments are now more like a perk than an essential for people. So if we think about it, very clear things. And I like the one on predefined work, right? We are more and more seeing people that are fluid and are agile and can work across teams. Sometimes you are working with this team, another time you are working with another team. That didn't used to happen before, So let's go to let's go to the next slide. So I wanted to talk about how you meet these people today. So prior to now, I would have taken my CV somewhere. We would have had a conversation. People would have, but that's not happening as much anymore, right? Where we're meeting the people with these skills are very different. This is where I want to pause. Not a long time ago, 2 years ago, I was in a company that was in Ibadan, and we launched a water product. So a bottled water product, and I hope it's still on the shelf in their stores. But I want to tell you that I designed that product with people I never met. I designed the labels for the products with people that I never met. I designed the bottle shape with people that I never met. The first thing that I did in country was to get them to create the mold for me in country, because we will blow it in Nigeria. So I went on this board called Upwork, and I put out an RFP. And I said, I need somebody that will create a bottle water design for me. I need it to be refreshing. I need it to be this and that. And I had people send back their designs to me. Over 1 week or so, we chose the lady that would do it for us. And then we started conversations. And that bottled water became a live product. So no jokes at all around this. I never met her. When she was done, at each phase of our money, our payment cycle, we pay her, and we moved like that. So the first thing that happened physically, and in fact, the gentleman that did the preform for us, or the mold for us, I met him from LinkedIn, and then I went to look for him in his shop in Unilag. Never known him before. He finished it. When we had issues with it, we went back to him, he changed it. All done from the comfort of either my office in Ibadan or my team members' office, None of them were people that I personally knew or anything. If I even take it a bit further, we did not have a water bottling factory. So we searched again. When we decided we were going to do this, we searched again for people that they call private labelers, and we met somebody that would take our bottles from us, bottle the water, and ship it to our store. All done in Nigeria. I didn't know them from anywhere. We signed contracts. I tested the water from their facility. I got quality control people to make sure that it was to standard, but that was all we did. So it was literally, and I think Uncle mentioned it, collaborative effort, both within the country and outside of the country. So today, that is a product that is standing and sitting, that had all this collaboration with team members that I never had to pay. They're not on my payroll. They were not on my company's payroll. and we finalize that process. So it's important that we're thinking about that. Instagram has become such a big tool for sales. If we are doing any form of, Auntie was talking about the bell pepper lady. If we are doing any form of sales today, we should be on one of these platforms. We should be deliberately creating content that is driving it. And it's consistency. The guys that are doing well on it, they are regular people like us. Very, very regular. Very regular. So those are things that we need to think about. I know quite a number of people that, for instance, write books. I know quite a number of them sell books on Amazon. They'll sell e-copies on Amazon. Sometimes even sell your hard copy. And they're sitting down in Nigeria. So the world has become a lot smaller when you think about it. So I thought it was necessary to show this just so that we can see, the tools that exist. All these things are a Google search away. They're not left for a select few. Okay. Next slide, please. I think I go to the skills that would determine. And I like these skills a lot because they will change per what you're trying to do. But I think in the first box and the last box, unfortunately, the slide is cut in the last box, but they are basic tools that every single person needs to be able to use, regardless of what you do. Every single person, regardless. Basic. So if we don't know how to use them, we need to do. And I like this one on basic DIY follow through, because money is becoming, things are tighter for many people. The economy is this, is that. But like Auntie said, there are DIY videos for everything you can imagine. Just Google. In fact, I took a course for my teenagers in church, and the lady was teaching us how to teach young people to use the web in Bible study. And I found it very fascinating. So there's almost no subjects that you are looking for that you cannot find. And that's why in the last skill, so ICT complementary skills, the first thing I wrote there was research. The ability to use your phone, use a laptop to find the information that you are looking for. Because that information is definitely somewhere and has been done by someone already. So there's a whole, gamut. In the middle box, there's so many things that could be there. There's a whole business in our church in Aja that offers all of the, or maybe more in fact, of the ICT specialist tools, right? So these things are available. You just need to determine what is important to me. What skill do I need to move forward? What does my business need? Or what other skill do I want to add on, to be able to support me passively? Okay. So I like virtual assistants also because that's become such a popular hip thing. But it's just thinking about your former secretaries and former travel agents, and you're bringing them into one person. This person sits somewhere, manages your diary, tells you when your flight is, and collects money from you. You never know the person, they never know you, and it's seamless. And I know that my mothers and fathers are thinking about all the risks that may occur with that. But there are ways to go around that. All right. Okay. Next slide. So what to do next? This is my final slide. Is really right now to determine, evaluate. It's always important that when we hear things like this, in fact, I was teasing my kids. We have a rabbit at home, so I was telling them that maybe this rabbitry thing, we will do something about it. But it's what do we really do next with this? First is to think about how is this technology disrupting, or how might it be changing your business today, your skill sets today, and what do you do about it? Can we go to the next slide? Okay. So determine if you need to upskill. Determine what you need. Sometimes it may be that you just need a younger person that joins your team and is able to do some of these things for you rather than employ 10 people. You employ one person that can manage these tools for you. Sign up to suitable platforms. I think this is very important because the world that we live in is a world where people want to be visible, need to be visible. When you think about the risks and cyber risks and trust and all, you need to be visible. So this lady on Upwork, if she was not there, regardless of how great her skills were, I wouldn't have hired her. There was no way I would have hired her. But because she was in a community that I understood their terms, I understood the fact that my money will be of value and be kept with them, I went ahead to use the service. Determined to engage with the groups regularly. So don't just be on a group and we're a dead member. Be active, understand what the new things are. Because like we said, remember the 2020-2024 picture. Technology is continuing to change. It's not stopping. It will continue to change. And you need to ensure that you are at the forefront of this. And then monitor risk actively. Of course, this opens up a different level of risk. Before, our risks were that we needed to keep the shops safe, we needed to keep the office safe. Now the risks are different, right? My card details, my identity, all of those. So there are ways to ensure that we are keeping and monitoring that risk actively. So with that, I hope I have been able to. Thanks. person needs to work in this differences between the past and corporate
no
office where there's a structure and everything.
It is too late
Right now,
for
that
you
doesn't happen
to
anymore. It's
intervene.
wherever about where the skills. So where Okay, so there's the how.